Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with Coach John Brent.
Man, and I'm here with the vet, Mr. Ian Griffin. It is a beautiful day. It's beautiful outside. Finally, a little cool morning. Cowboys playing great. Cowboys actually play today. I mean, what could be better?
Well, you know, it's also our 69th podcast.
Well, I'm trying to be an adult here. Yes, 69.
I am too.
69.
The youth in me would have freaking done cartwheels and made a hour special out of this alone. So anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So, so the Cowboys play today. It's going to be a good day. You're right, Coach. It is gorgeous. I spent a lot of time outside yesterday, even though my pale butt don't like it. But, man, we got some crazy stuff going on. Katie Couric come out with a book, and she had interviewed Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And now she comes out in 2016, and now she comes out in the book and says, well, I interviewed her, and I needed to protect what she had to say about herself. And out loud, I'm like, really? Supreme Court Justice, you have to protect her? But she left out some stuff that, out of all people, that might have changed a little bit of how things are looked in America. That was the one person that probably could have had a pull in things. And this is called selective journalism. This is called, let me think what that term's called. Isn't that what they do in the Communist Party and the Socialist Party?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't know. What do you think, Coach?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is people that try to tell you that the news media isn't biased and they don't push their agenda on you. It's pretty funny that whenever anything comes up with, let's just say with the Trump, Fox News would do anything to protect Trump. But what we don't realize is the majority of the media, we all know, most of us know, is a liberal media. But when you withhold things, I mean, it's one thing we hear about when you add things to a story, you make up lies. But when you withhold things from the story, it's just as bad. And in this case, probably worse. Vet?
I agree. It's very manipulative. And I don't want to dwell on Trump long, but I will say this. Jim Acosta is still talking about Trump as of last week.
Oh, every day.
And he's not the president for the last 10 months. And he won't be the president, no matter what anybody thinks, for at least 3 more years. There's another guy that you get to target and you got to poke fun of or pick on and all those other things. But with Katie Couric, moving back to Katie Couric, she actually consulted a bunch of journalists. So it's just not her. It's a whole bunch of journalists, people.
Yeah. She
consulted from their opinion. And I got to read it in case the audience doesn't know. She wrote a new book that's kind of like a tell-all. I'm telling everybody, you know, and one part of it, she didn't so much as stand up for women's rights as she should have and things of that nature from what I understand. So Ginsburg in the interview told Couric discussing the kneeling of Colin Kaepernick and things of that nature. She told Couric she was opposed to action, saying those who kneel during the national anthem are showing contempt for a government that has made it possible for their parents and grandparents to live a decent life. And then the part that Katie Couric did release was that she just said it was dumb and disrespectful for the kneelers, is all she said. But that other part needed to be in there for some really good context. And to be honest, as far as we've taken, you know, we say the left and you say the right. Well, the Kaepernick thing's gone far left as possible. I saw somebody post today that Kaepernick works out 5 times a week and he's ready to take a team to the Super Bowl like he did before. And I wanted to, and I wrote on that thing there on the sports thing. I said, is Elvis still alive? Do we really think the interception machine is going to happen? But that's another story in itself. This here, 10 years from now, we'll still be thinking that he can take somebody to a dang Super Bowl like Pat Mahomes, which we know he couldn't do it a couple years after he got out. He couldn't do it while he was in, but that first year, you know, and that's how it is. But with this here, we allowed him to become a martyr, and we might not have allowed him to become a martyr if we would have just listened to the judge.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. The left loves martyrs. They love that person they can prop up that doesn't deserve to be propped up based on character. You know, the great Martin Luther King said, we want to not worry about the skin color. We want to worry about someone's character. Well, these people that they've propped up, especially over the last 2 to 4 years, have not been of the best character. And what happened to them, and say an example of George Floyd was, we all knew it was murder, but what they did after that murder was prop him up to be Martin Luther King type. mentality. There's streets being named and murals being put up. And with Colin Kaepernick, the guy was an average quarterback. Okay, let's say he was above average quarterback for a year or two. But what has happened since then, he's become a martyr to the liberal and the leftist and even some in the black community just because he stood up to the man. And the man has always been described, well, I'll say always, mostly in historical terms, as the white man or the white government. And you know what? One of the things that I hated about this was Katie Couric actually did a very good interview, and she promoted the writings, and she used the words like stupid and arrogant that actually are, Ruth Bader Ginsburg used, which are pretty tough words. But she said that she lost sleep over what you just read, Vet, and what happened to journalists being able to just put that out there and letting the public decide. Let the public decide what is cancel culture type mentality or just the truth. Because you're right, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, in the eyes of the left, is the greatest civil rights for women's rights, in the last 50 years. So let's say, why not allow her words to marinate in the public and allow some of those people on the left and maybe even some of those people on the right to be pulled to go, hey, maybe we found some kind of common ground here, because even this lady believes this is not right. But it's crazy when they don't let you know the whole truth.
Well, there's two things I got. You said that, Kaepernick stood up to the man, and I guess you could say that he did. But, he got paid well, very handsomely, some deals because of that. But let's face the facts. It's people like Katie Couric that pulled him across, because that might not never happen if she wasn't pulling him across the finish line on those things, and it might have toned down and we might have been a lot more civil about it. The second thing I got is Katie Couric does this to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who is respected on all sides. We've even did a podcast a year ago when she passed away. And I said she was a little loose in the mouth for the average Supreme Court justice, but I still respected her decisions. So if they do that to her, who's respected by all sides, what are they doing to everybody else is the question. Let's think about this. If Jesus Christ was here to say today, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, whoever should believe in him, those that believe in me may have eternal life. Well, those that believe in me get a Six Flags ticket. This is what they would do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, holy smoke. Or if they were around to publish during George Washington's time, what the flip-flop? I got it that we got George Washington chopped down a cherry tree, and we exacerbated that to hell, and that didn't really happen. Okay, I understand that. But, some of the things that George Washington has said has been so profound on our foundation in our country that we long to have somebody similar to him in any shape or form or fashion to be a public official.
Well, even as a historian, it's happening now. They're leaving out things that were said, leaving out facts that the reason that we started our country, the way that it was started, is being looked at in a different lens. They don't even talk about those things. So this is not new. Katie Couric had all this information, and she decided to cherry pick what she wanted out of it for, to keep her. I actually kind of think that Katie Couric looked at Ruth Bader as a kind of a hero type figure, which is great for her. But you don't cherry pick that. You let the citizenry decide, what they want to do. And that's the same way they're doing with George Washington. Same thing they're doing with the beginning of our country. I just did something this week. I'll do it real quick because I know we're running short on time. Is we taught on Jamestown and Plymouth. Jamestown, the reason that started, the reason they came here, we teach is the 3 G's: God, glory, and gold. Plymouth, the people that came over here because they were religious dissidents coming over here to be able to freely worship. And those two started our country on those foundations, Judeo-Christian values. If you bring that up today, the first thing they hit you with is, well, there's a separation of church and state. If you don't bring that up and you let it slide, they don't even believe for anything that those people came over here for God. That's not the truth. But people are keeping that out of the narrative and hoping that you don't even bring it up. And if you do, they always have a way to put down God. They always have a way to put down the truth. And that's what Katie Couric did here. You have got to throw that out there. Believe me, if President Trump, she'd interviewed Trump and Trump would have said the Mexican girl can't cook beans, I guarantee you the Mexican girl couldn't cook beans would have been in the article.
And there've been some cutting and splicing from other things put in there too.
Right.
So we're about to get out of here, but I will say this here to me is propaganda. It's manipulated propaganda. And we're going to discuss on Tuesday night a couple of things, and one of them is going to be about propaganda also. Yes. So I think we got to call this one a quick one, and we're going to call it a day. So I'm going to say real quick from the coach
and to the vet.
Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.